गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। कैसे हैं सब लोग? सो स्टार्ट करते हैं डिस्कशन। जस्ट 2 से 3 मिनट दे दीजिए। मीनवाइल इफ यू हैव द क्वेश्चन काइंडली शेयर ऑन द यूट्यूब। सीए केवल मोटा सर आज हमारे साथ हैं एंड ही ज्वाइनिंग इन जस्ट 2 to 3 minutes. Meanwhile, requesting everyone to please give the question on which you need the discussion. नमस्कार भूपेंद्र शाह जी। Very good evening to all. So meanwhile, let me ask one question. What is the GSTR 4 due date for the financial year 22-23? Can you please tell me what is the due date for the GSTR 4 for the financial year 22-23? क्योंकि जब तक आप क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं मैं ही क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता हूं। सो हमारे साथ सर जुड़ चुके हैं, सीए केवल मोटा सर। सर, मे आई रिक्वेस्ट टू ओपन द कैमरा।
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Sorry, sir, for a delay in joining.
No problem. It's we are yet to start actually.
Okay.
So meanwhile, because it's first, sir, I request you to open the YouTube also, the link which I've given to you.
Okay, 1 second.
And make it mute that YouTube.
Yes. YouTube is on.
And
camera is also on.
Okay, perfect. You can see the queries of the member.
Sir, voice is actually echoing.
You can see the queries of the member.
Okay, 1 second.
That will be in the YouTube, not in the Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the queries.
Perfect.
Good evening and all.
Yeah,
See.
yeah,
Yeah.
correct, correct, correct. So fine. So let me introduce first. Uh, this is the first time that CA Keval Mota sir is with us on educating platform, and it's a great pleasure for all of us. Let me give the brief introduction about the Keval sir. Sir is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, based out at Mumbai. He's a GST enthusiast and an excellent orator. He has a vast experience in the teaching indirect tax to the student of CA, CMA, and CS. In his career, along with teaching, he has addressed various seminars for the corporate entities and has independently carried out SAP implementation in the GST and the impact analysis in 2016 for the large corporation during the inception of the GST law in Indian economy. Due to his forte in the indirect tax, he has also worked out for the international indirect tax implementation on the UAE, VAT at Dubai, as well as Abu Dhabi in Jan 2018. He is a regular contributor of the meaningful article on Tax Guru. His expertise in the critical analysis, the concept, transaction advisory, consulting, including litigation, representation service for the taxpayer, including corporates and MNC. He is a regular speaker at WIRC for the GST and delivered many lectures to the student and professional. So by this, I welcome CA Keval Mota sir on our live discussion on the GST. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing me. So let us now have the query session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you can see the query of MKL.
1 second, sir. I am opening the YouTube from mobile. Okay,
No
so
problem.
that I can easily get it.
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, I'll read. So we'll handle the query one by one. I'll take
No
one
problem.
query, and you can take one query.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we will handle.
Yes.
Why
in okay, you are taking? Yeah, I take, sir.
Why in the late filing of the GSTR7, interest is being charged even if the tax has been deposited within time? So how you have deposited the tax? Is it through PMT0? How you have deposited the tax? Is it through PMT06? If you have deposited the tax through PMT06, in my view, that tax will not goes to the government. It will lies in your cash ledger. So the interest ka meter would continue till the time you not file the GSTR7. So this is my view. Sir, over to you. Next question.
Yes. Next is reimbursement of expenses and GST effect. So, sir, reimbursement of expenses, in that you have to check rule number 33 of CGST rules, that is pure agent. Okay. So there are few conditions which are to be satisfied to be denoted as a pure agent. Okay. For example, you should have basically the right, that is authorization to incur such expense. If you are having the authorization to incur such expense and you are recurring the exact amount of expenses incurred from the recipient, then in that case it would be excluded from the value of supply. And in that, one more important point is there, that it should be in addition to what you are providing. Okay, let me take one example. For example, you are a broker, okay, the real estate broker, and you have asked your client that I will sell this flat. Okay, I will charge brokerage of say 10,000 rupees. So for selling this flat, yeah, you have to advertise. Okay, so if you are advertising and getting that expenses reimbursed from your client, okay, so here the broker would make amount of 10,000 plus advertisement expenses. So GST would be coming on the both, not on just brokerage, because the advertisement services incurred by broker is not in addition to what he was required to provide. Okay, means advertisement he has to provide to sell the flat. Without providing advertisement service, he cannot sell the flat. Okay, so yeah, so here advertisement is not additional service. Okay, it is a part of the selling of flat. Okay, we can take the second example of this only. If broker had paid stamp duty on behalf of the client, then in that case, this reimbursement would not be liable to GST. Only brokerage amount would have been liable to GST. Okay.
So fine. Next question is being asked by Ashwin Takkarji. Capital goods purchased on 28 March obtain compulsory or the voluntary in April 2023. Who is eligible to claim the credit on the basis of section 18? Sir, 18 subsection 1 talk about you can take the ITC on the input only. Input can be with respect to the raw material, finished goods, or WIP. But you cannot take the ITC on the capital goods. There is provision if you are converting the number from the composition to regular or exempt become taxable, then there would be the provision you can take the ITC on capital goods as well proportionately. Sir, requesting you to add or clarify.
Okay. Sir, in this thing, section 18(1)(d), okay, when exempt supplier become taxable supplier, 18(1)(d) is only applicable when registered person who is dealing in exempt goods is now going to deal in taxable goods. If the person was unregistered, okay, as per section 23, person engaged in exclusively exempt supplies is not required to obtain registration. So he has not obtained registration. Okay, but now his supplies are becoming taxable. So now he will be taking registration. So
Right.
he will be falling in the purview of 18(1)(a), that is liable for registration, and not 18(1)(d), that is exempt from taxable. Okay, so here a proper care should be taken that if you are a registered person, you are doing exempt supplies, and now your supplies have become taxable, then only capital goods ITC would be given to you. Otherwise, it would not be given.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Sir, over to you. Next question. Is there any GST on the cryptocurrency?
No, sir. GST on cryptocurrency is not there because basically it is not the instrument to tax. Okay, only brokerage would be liable to tax, but not on the selling part of cryptocurrency. Sir, you can add something if you have.
Sir, absolutely correct. But we are expecting very soon that crypto would also come in the GST. But we don't know when it will come, and because there is no such news exactly authentic source. But yes, there is a news floating in the market through newspapers. Subhasini, GST on the advance. Do we charge EPS? When to pay to the government if service or goods not completed, delivered same month, but in the latter month and invoice is then? See, simple thing. If I am supplying the goods, okay, I have received the advance on supplying the goods, I'm not required to charge any GST on the advances because of that one notification was 66 by 2017, central tax dated 15th November. One more thing, if you are making the supply of the service, you need to pay the GST on advance because that notification has relaxed only goods, not services. Now you have added certain point with respect to invoicing. So you have to go section 12 subsection 2 or section 13 subsection 2 for the purpose of time of supply. So accordingly, you need to determine the time of supply. I hope if you have any counter question, kindly raise. Meanwhile, I request sir to take next question of Saipal, Mr. Saipal.
Okay. An assessee paid late fees till date, and after he paid late fees, amnesty scheme came into force. Can accrued assessee claim for reimbursement? No, sir. There is no provision for refund of late fees already paid.
Correct. Manojji, if our outward supply is exempt under GST and those export under LUT, can he claim the refund? Absolutely correct, sir. See, if I am there is a provision 16 subsection 2 of IGST Act which talks about that even though I am exporting, but whether underlying item is exempted, I would be entitled to take input tax credit. Now the question is, even though there is no requirement of LUT as well, suppose my outward supply is exempted, then there is no requirement of letter of undertaking as well. Yes. If you see the refund application, in the drop down of the refund application, there is one drop down, no LUT, because you are engaged in the exclusively exempt supply. So my answer is over. Same. Sir, kindly take the next question of Ayush Sharma ji.
Employer recovered 20% of salary from employee for notice pay recovery for premature quitting. No, sir. No GST will be applicable as per recent circular number 178. Okay, this circular you can take. In that circular, it has been clarified that premature termination or notice recovery would not be liable to GST.
Ashwin Takkarji has asked the question, in some business, usually the payment term is 365 days. The seller has no issue due to late payment. Still, you need to reverse the credit for the payment later than 180 days. Ashwin Thakurji, there is a big problem in the second proviso to the 16 subsection 2. The problem is the word failure to pay, because the word failure to pay would somehow linked to the agreement. The point number one. Suppose if my agreement is already 1 year, so if I not make the payment within 180 days, then actually GST cannot say to me that I am failure to pay. But yet the problem is the second part of that proviso, that they are counting 180 days from the date of invoice. Okay. So what is the problem? There is a dilemma that even though as per agreement, there is a credit period more than 180 days, but still I need to reverse the ITC. And biggest problem, reversal would attract interest. That is the second problem. Why second problem? Because I can say my failure arise on 180th day. Okay. So if I am failure, or if I am, let's say, contravene of the ITC, then interest should be applicable from 181 days, not for the past period. So this is my view. Sir, request to take the next question, please. Jai Radha Govind.
Can penalty be imposed under section 129 or 130 if the purchase of supplier is doubted as ingenuine? Means I think your query is, for example, you have purchased something, okay, and from the person you have purchased, his purchase was not genuine. So can penalty be imposed upon you? Is this your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that case, penalty would not be levied on you. Penalty would be levied on the person who is contravening the provisions. Okay. Who is contravening the provisions. So under section 129 and 130, you would not be liable. 129 and 130 would be attracted when you are supplying goods without cover of documents. Okay. Or you are not supplying, but you are raising invoices. Okay. So basically section 129 would cover all those cases of detention and confiscation. Okay, you are supplying the goods, but you have not generated e-way bill, or you have generated e-way bill but with the wrong vehicle details. And in these cases, section 129, 130 would be triggered. Okay, and 129 would give you chance to pay penalty and take your goods back. But if you are not coming within the 14 days time period, then section number 130 will be triggered, which will ask for confiscation. And after confiscation, also you have one provision, that is you can pay redemption fine. Okay, you can pay redemption fine, and then you can take away your goods. So 120 and 130 is specifically for the person who is supplying the goods without proper documents, and not on the on your purchases if they are not genuine.
Great. So Krishnaji Rao, sir, alcoholic liquor for human consumption is reported in the GSTR1 table 8A as non-GST supply. But I have the doubt, article 366, alcoholic not covered in the GST, then why should we report GSTR1 and 3B? Sir, see, in my view, because it is a not covered means it is a non-taxable supplies. So if I go the definition of the non-taxable supplies, the supply which are not leviable to tax. Okay. Then which are the supply which are not leviable to tax? One, you can say that alcoholic liquor for human consumption because of article 366 clause 12A and 9 subsection 1. Second is 5 specified petroleum product. Because of the charging section 9 subsection 2, it has been kept outside the purview of the GST. So because it is outside the purview of the GST, it becomes non-taxable supplies. Okay. And if you refer the definition of the exempt supply under section 2 clause 47, okay, it includes 3 parts, and one part is the non-taxable supplies. Indirectly, the non-taxable supply is an exempt supply. And in the calculation of aggregate turnover, we need to add taxable as well as exempt supply. Do you agree with this? So it means the non-taxable supplies, which is alcoholic plus specified 5 petroleum product, is an exempt, need to add in the aggregate turnover. That is the reason to add in the GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Sir, Manoj ji ka question, over to you.
NGTP party, NGTP means non-government?
Party registration.
I didn't understood the term NGTP. Okay.
Non
registration cancelled retrospectively, but our transaction is genuine. We are liable for ITC reversal and penalty. Sir, here if first of all, please clarify the term NGTP. Okay.
Non-genuine taxpayer, maybe.
But his transaction is genuine, he's telling.
Acha. Okay.
Okay.
So fine. Please continue.
Okay. So sir, if cancellation is retrospectively, so first of all, you might have got the show cause notice. Okay, directly it cannot be cancelled. So first of all, show cause notice might have been received to you. If you would have not replied to the show cause notice, then only further steps of cancellation would be taken. And after the cancellation is done, you have the time limit to revoke to apply for revocation. Okay. So if revocation application you are doing and revocation is accepted, okay, then there is no need to reverse ITC because cancellation is not done. Okay. And in case revocation is not accepted, then it would be liable for reversal and all the penalty provisions would be taken thereof. Okay. And further, you can take the benefit of the amnesty scheme. Okay. If the conditions are satisfied, you are eligible person. And by June 23, you are appealing for. Sir, you can add something if you want.
Sir, that is sufficient. Nothing to add.
Okay.
So meanwhile, can you take one question of 180 days? We like to means listen your view also.
Okay,
Till the
where?
time the question come.
Ashwin Thakkar, sir.
Yeah, please add some more fact.
Okay, in some business, usually the payment terms is 365 days. The seller has no issue due to late payments. Still, yes, sir. Your view was proper that it has to reverse the ITC. Okay, your view was that only, no, sir?
Yeah, right. Reverse the ITC along with interest, but
yes, but actually interest should not be levied. First of all, interest levy is unconstitutional. Okay, because if recipient, see, sir, if we speak from government point of view, there is no loss of revenue because government is getting the GST from supplier as per the time of supply. Okay, so there is no late payment to government and there is no revenue loss to the government in terms of GST as well as interest. There is no loss of government. And secondly, if recipient is paying late to the supplier, okay, if recipient is paying late to the supplier, the interest should be charged by supplier and not the government. Okay, because if supplier has paid tax, then only recipient has taken ITC as per section 16 condition. Okay, so from the government point of view, it becomes revenue neutral that supplier is paying tax and recipient is taking ITC. So if recipient is not paying to supplier, you can reverse the ITC of recipient, but interest should not be charged. Interest should not be charged. Okay, and section number 50 subsection 3. Okay, here it will be important to check section number 50 subsection 3. That is the latest amendment, which states that the interest would be levied from the date of availment and utilization, not just from the date of availment. Okay, so if you are taking the ITC of your supplier's invoice and you are not paying him within 180 days, but that GST amount is lying in your electronic credit ledger. Okay, not one-to-one correlation. There is no one-to-one correlation. Okay, so the last part it would be treated. For example, you have ITC of 3,60,000. In that 1,50,000 pertains to the invoice which you have not paid within 180 days. Okay, so if you are using 3,60,000, the first apportionment would be done towards the correct ITC. Okay, that is correct ITC means, for example, the balance that is 2,10,000. 2,10,000 is the correct ITC. Okay, supposingly your liability is rupees 3 lakh. Your liability is rupees 3 lakh. You have 3,60,000 ITC. Your liability is 3 lakh rupees. Your ITC is 3,60,000 rupees. And out of this 3,60,000, there are two parts. One, 1,50,000 which you have not paid to your supplier within 180 days, and the balance 2,10,000 is proper ITC. So here 3,60,000 minus 2,10,000 would be done first. Okay, the balance amount, whatever 3 lakh minus 2,10,000, that is 90,000 is balance. Okay, so this 90,000, if you are paying through 1,50,000, this 90,000 you are paying through 1,50,000, the GST interest should be charged only on rupees 90,000 and not on the 1,80,000. Sorry, 1,50,000. Only 90,000 means the incorrect ITC availed and utilized would be liable for interest.
fine, sir. Sir, I request you to take the next question of Ashwin Thakkarji.
1 second. Okay.
So cancellation of registration. A goldsmith obtained.
A goldsmith obtained registration voluntary on 142 less than. His question is incomplete. Would he liable to pay the
Would he
market?
like to pay the GST at the time of cancellation?
Okay. See, sir, first of all, you have to check whether you have availed the ITC. Okay, as per voluntary registration section number 18(1)(b). Have you availed the ITC on the stock? If ITC has been availed by you, okay, if ITC has been availed by you on that stock, okay, at the time of reversal, at the time of cancellation of registration, you have to reverse that ITC. Okay. Now here two things are there. First of all, if you have tax invoice as on the date of cancellation, so you have to reverse the ITC on the stock amount as per invoice. And if you don't have invoice, then only market price reversal has to be done. And if you have not availed the ITC, then you are not liable for reversal. Okay, whenever you would have effected the transaction under GST registered person, then GST would have been payable. GST would be payable as per section 9 subsection 1. GST shall be paid by taxable person. Okay, as per section 2 subsection 107, taxable person means registered person or liable for registered person. Okay, so if you are taking voluntary registration, GST needs to be discharged. Okay, so obviously you might have availed the ITC on that 1.5 kg stock. Okay, and if you are cancelling the registration due to less turnover, you have to reverse the ITC which you have taken. On the basis of tax invoice, you have to reverse. If tax invoice is missing, then only market price will be taken, otherwise not.
Okay.
Sir, you can add something if you want.
That is perfect. Sir, I like to add, not I like to add, I like to take your view. If composition taxable person has cancelled the registration and there is some, let's say there is some stock in hand because he cannot take the input tax credit, would he liable to pay the GST at the rate of whatever the rate, 1%, 5%, 6%?
No, sir, he won't. My view would be like that, ki if he is not selling the goods, okay.
Correct.
See, GST is levied on supply of goods. Okay. So supply, meaning of supply would be taken from section 7. That is for consideration and in course or furtherance of business. Okay. If he is not selling the goods, he is keeping the stock and he is cancelling the registration. Okay. So in this case, he has not supplied the goods.
Perfect.
Okay. He is not taking any consideration. Okay. And it is not even from schedule 1 transaction, that is permanent transfer of business. That's where ITC has been availed.
Right.
So for all these cases, he should not be liable to pay GST, and there is no government loss. Okay.
Right.
Everywhere when section number 18 is asking for reversal, 18 subsection 4, reversal is only done when government is losing revenue.
Right.
But here government is not losing any revenue due to composition person is not taking any ITC.
Right.
So here the reversal should not be done.
Perfect.
Or no GST shall be paid.
Perfect. So, sir, in case of the section 16, Rahul Jain ji ka question मैं ले रहा हूँ. Rahul Jain ji, sir, in case of the 16 subsection 4, there is no loss to the government because already tax has been paid by the supplier. Then two officer are disallowing. 16.4.
So that payment within 180 days.
No, 16.4.
16.2. Okay.
Take the input tax credit.
ITC.
But
yeah.
See, I mean, in my view, that every provision should not be looked into that whether there is a loss to the government or not. Suppose if I'm issuing the credit note, okay, so even though I'm reversing my ITC, so but there is a time limit, so we have to comply with the same. So in my view, even though there is a no loss to the government, but 16.4 is the time limit, imposing the time limit, it is in the law, so we have to abide by the same. So we have to, if we are not taking the input tax credit by the time limit, earlier it was September due date, now it is 30th November. So if not, then we have to, we cannot take the ITC, it is ineligible, and obviously the officer will disallow. Sir, Saipal ji ka question aap lenge, sir, please.
Can you please throw some light on the example section when creditors block and since immovable property is not defined in GST law? Okay. See, sir, as per section 17(5)(c). Okay, so first of all, we will take about works contract. Okay, if you are taking the works contract services on an immovable property, and the immovable property is plant and machinery. Okay, So the GST ITC would be allowed, okay, because plant and machinery is the exception to section 17(5)(c). So if you are taking services, works contract service, and getting construction done of plant and machinery, ITC would be allowed. Okay. Secondly, if you are not constructing plant and machinery, but any other immovable property such as building, okay. So here government has told that explanation to that section number 17(5) states that construction means capitalization in books of accounts. Okay. So for example, if you are constructing a building, factory building, obviously as per plant property equipment accounting standard, you are not going to debit that in P&L. Okay. So obviously you are going to capitalize it. So here building ITC would not be allowed. Okay. So government says if plant and machinery, we will make in two parts. If we are constructing plant and machinery, whether or not capitalized, ITC is allowed. Other than plant and machinery, here we have to further make two parts. Whether other than plant and machinery asset is debited to P&L or it is capitalized. If it is capitalized, no ITC would be allowed. If it is debited to P&L, then ITC would be allowed. Okay, but debiting to the P&L would be carefully done by accounting standard, whether you are required to debit in P&L or not. Supposingly, for example, you are doing repairs and maintenance to building. So here, obviously, you are not going to capitalize it if it is not the major repairs. You have to debit in the P&L account. So here, ITC would be allowed on that particular part. Okay. So here, even if the expense is done on immovable property, but ITC is allowed. Okay, here we have to check whether it is capitalized or not capitalized. This is from the view of works contract service. But as per section 17(5)(d), okay, if you are not taking works contract service, you are taking goods from some other person, services from other person, and doing self construction other than plant and machinery, then ITC will not be allowed. Sorry, for plant and machinery it is allowed, other than plant and machinery not allowed. Okay, and if you are doing other than plant and machinery and debiting to the P&L, then ITC will be allowed. Okay, if you are capitalizing, ITC will not be allowed for other than plant and machinery. So the position remains same for works contract and self construction. Okay, but the thing only looked upon is capitalization or not capitalization. Immovable property is not defined, but it is anything attached to earth. Simple.
So fine. Let's move to the next. Sorry, you like to add something or is it over?
Over, sir.
Fine. So I like to take Ashwinji. I think answer has been given. He liable to pay the output tax on the market value of the gold. I think you have received the answer. Might be there is a delay in the means because of the connectivity or because of any reason. Kuljit ji ka question मैं read कर रहा हूँ. Is there any changes in the 23 or 24 wherein the registration was exempted? My query is one of the client who is unregistered with the turnover rupees 50 lakhs proprietorship firm providing the security services only to the registered recipient wherein the service receiver are paying the GST under RCM. Can he still avail the exemption from the GST registration or otherwise? See, that 23, if you are exclusively engaged in the exempted supply or not liable to tax, then you are not required to take the registration irrespective of any turnover. The point is the Finance Bill 2023 and the Finance Act 2023, I found there is a big difference. This time, the Finance Bill was talking about non-obstant clause in the 23 subsection 1, whereas the Finance Act 2023 was shifted the non-obstant clause to the 23 subsection 2. Please make the difference. Now, the non-obstant is not with the 23.1, it is 23.2. What is the difference? See, 23.1, if you are exclusively engaged in the exempt supply, not liable to tax, or I am agriculturist providing the supply out of the cultivation of land, not required to take registration. Now, 23.2, there are certain notification which has been issued by the government and given the relaxation because your point is covered in that 23 subsection 2. The notification number 5 by 2017, which talks about if your outward supply is covered under RCM, irrespective of any turnover, you are not required to take registrations. Correct. And the beauty is that 23.2 is now, as per the Finance Act 2023, the 23 subsection 2 is starting with non-obstant clause. It means it will not only override 22, also it will override 24. It means now even if there is any inward supply on you on which you are required to pay the tax under RCM, doesn't matter. Okay. So this is my point. Now coming to your question, that because considering this amendment, the outward supply which is completely under reverse charge, you are not required to take registration irrespective of any turnover. So even though it is 50 lakhs, you are exempted. Sir, over to you of Manmohan Singh Ji Thakur.
Yeah. GST in suspended 2nd February 2020, all return filed on 4th April. Automatically active on the same date. What invoice means? Sir, you have to issue revised tax invoice for the period from the date of suspension till the date of revocation of suspension. Okay. So you have to issue the revised tax invoice and you have to furnish that particular invoice details in your first return. That will be taken after 4th April, whatever first return you are going to file. In that, you have to furnish all these invoices, okay, and pay the tax accordingly. Sir, if you want to add, please add.
No,
sir.
perfect, sir. Perfect. That is means the revised invoice concept is applicable at two places. At first, new registration, and second is
suspension. Yes.
Suspension. Krishnaji Rao, if 17 subsection 5 motor car ITC available in the GSTR 3 with the department, how to know if we claimed or not 17.5 goods and services? See, as of now, the department are believing on you. The self-assessment, whatever we are reporting in the GSTR 3B, first they will assume that it is correct information. Now the second, either at the time of departmental scrutiny or departmental audit under section 65, inspection, search, seizure, summon on any or scrutiny of the return under sections 61. So accordingly, they will identify, but prima facie, they cannot identify any transaction which is blocked under 17.5. So MKL NLP, sir, over to you.
Yeah. ADT 1 was received on 3rd August and all the documents were submitted. No further communication which was received from the department till date. Whether audit is no, sir. GST ADT 01 is basically for a notice. Okay, it is a notice for conducting audit. Okay, it is not the conclusion of audit. Here you have to submit all the documents and then department would verify and intimate you. So you have to wait for some time. Basically, time limit as per the department section 73 adjudication time limit, they will complete it. Okay, so you have to wait for further communication. Audit is not yet completed.
Correct. So Ashwin Thakurji, trader of the cotton purchase cotton from the agriculture is not paid the RCM, detected non-payment of RCM in audit 65, made payment of the RCM. Now we can he eligible for the ID for next section not applicable to the URD. See, the point is you can take this particular see whether RCM the ITC would be available even after the time limit of 16.4. So because you can say that it is not applicable to URD, so I would say in different manner. So because you are a registered person and the supplier is URD, you have to make the self invoice according to 31 subsection 3 clause F. So if you not made, doesn't mean that you can make later on and then can take the ITC, but still you have the sound argument that because ITC on the RCM would be eligible only on the payment. If I am making the payment in the current date, so it become the ITC of the current date and it should be eligible till the next November. So that is my view, but still it is a litigative matter. And now we probably have the tribunal by the October or somehow by the end of this year. So I would suggest definitely you should do the litigation for this point, because supplier is URD, you are making the payment now, you should make the self invoice now and take the ITC. Let's the department or you to litigate the same. Turnover, I think it is the next question, Ashwin Thakurji. Sir,
yeah. Turnover below 2 crore exempted to file GSTR now 9. Now lately he filed the GSTR 9 belated, is liable to pay late fees. Sir, if turnover is less than 2 crore, then GSTR 9 was not at all applicable. Okay, so even if you want to file the GSTR 9, you have to abide by the time limit or do not file it. Okay, you cannot file late. If you are filing late, then the late fees will be applicable. You can take the benefit of the amnesty scheme, which is recently announced. Okay, so it is applicable if till 30th June 2023 you are filing the same. Okay.
Sir, Saipal ji ka question मैं ले रहा हूँ sir. Mr. A applied for GST registration on 20th Feb 2023. GST allotted on the March 25th. A, one second. एक मिनट रुकेगा sir. Sorry. A has started raising the invoice from Feb 1st, 2023, what is the position of the input and output in return? So can you please tell me, Saipalji, whether the GST registration which you have applied on 20th Feb, is it because of the voluntary registration or is it because of the mandatory registration? If it is mandatory registration, please tell me the date of the liability also to complete the answer in my view. Meanwhile, sir, could you please take the question of
Yeah. Sir, if any GST cancel for non-filing GST 3B, what will be impact on ITC in suspension period and cancellation period? Sir, this will be dependent upon whether registration cancellation is completed or not. If you are applying for revocation and revocation is done, okay, then you will be eligible for ITC. Okay, if revocation is rejected and you have not filed the appeal against the rejection order, okay, within the time limit, you can still file the time by 30th June in appeal. Okay, if you are not filing appeal, time limit is over, then the that period's ITC would lapse, because ITC as per section 16 is available to the registered person. And if your cancellation is done, then you are no longer a registered person in the eyes of law. Okay, so it will totally depend upon whether revocation is done or revocation is not done. If revocation is done, then ITC would be eligible. If revocation is not done and you have not appealed further for the rejection order, then ITC may lapse. So you can add if I am wrong.
So perfect.
Okay.
So Aila Suklaji, if you have any counter question, please raise the concern so we can accordingly address. So Saipalji is saying that voluntary registration. So in my view, the voluntary registration, if you taken on 20th Feb 2023 and the GST registration was allotted on the 25th March 2023. So in case of the voluntary registration, in my view, you can confirm, in my view, there is no effective date of the registration in the GST provision. So I can say the date of the application would be the date of effective date of the registration. So if you have taken, let's say, if probably I am wrong, would you like to handle this question?
Which one, sir?
साइपाल जी का, अगर वॉलंटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन मैंने 20 फरवरी को लिया है एंड अलॉटेड 25 मार्च को हुआ है, तो इफेक्टिव डेट
25 मार्च
25 मार्च है.
25 March would be effective as per rule number 10. Okay, and GST ITC would be received. ITC would be available the date preceding the date of effective registration, and liability also would be arising from the next day, that is from 26th March.
Okay. Thank you. So suppose Kulji ji keh rahe hain, so suppose he is also exempted from inward RCM liability if any like legal services as his outward liability are subject to RCM. No. Correct. You are correct. So he will be exempted. Earlier there was a question, but now at least we can say after the amendment of the Finance Act 2023, that the day when that amendment will be notified, effective date will be notified. After that date, I can say yes, he would be less bother about the RCM also. And also I like to say one more thing, like GTA services or the legal services. If you refer the notification, exemption notification, in which for the legal service, there is a serial number 45, which talks about if the services is being received by unregistered person, or GTA services. Okay, if it is an unregistered person other than 7 specified, 6 specified category, so the service itself could be exempted. So that point should also be looked into. Sir, over to you.
Yeah. As per section 65(4), audit should be completed when, yes, agreed, from the date of commencement of audit or books of accounts, whichever is later. Okay, so audit should be completed, but sometimes what happens is department is issuing the order, but you are not receiving on the GST portal. Okay, there are many cases wherein ACC says that we have not received the completion order, or on the portal it is not visible. Okay, so in these cases, you can take the screenshot that portal it is not visible, and in the postal also we have not received it. So it will be your defense part, but as per department, audit is not yet complete. But you can state this provision that audit should be completed, but officer will update the will upload that audit completion order. Okay, and he will tell that audit had been completed on time. So here the argument can be on the basis of technicalities. So one case was there in which appeal order was not posted on the portal. Okay, adjudication order was not posted on the portal, and we have also not received it. And then one such day, one notice came that you have not replied to the not filed appealed within 3 months time limit. Okay, so we asked department, when did you pass the order? We didn't receive mail. It is not visible on the portal. Neither hard copy was received. But then when we went to the department for personal hearing, he is showing that it is seen in the portal. But we have never made the screenshot of not visible on the portal. So at the end, we have to take a condonation of delay and then file appeal. Okay, so you can take this stand. Okay, if department says that audit is completed. Okay.
Fine. Ashwin Thakkar ji ka question मैं ले रहा हूँ. Commercial bidding completion certificate received. There are shops in the stock want to cancel the registration now. Can he apply for the cancellation? What will the liability of unsold shops? Capital goods के ऊपर cancellation के ऊपर, see, that will only come when you taken the ITC, because if you are talking about the shops, then you have not taken the ITC. So 29 subsection 5 talks about whatever the proportionate ITC is available on the capital goods, you should reverse. But in my view, even though there is some stock capital goods lying in your end on which you have not taken the ITC, the reversal would not come into the picture. Sir, over to you to add something.
No, sir, perfect. It is
perfect.
Same view.
Fine. I like to add one more point. MKL NLP. Sir, what is practically going on in the market? So somehow I have seen that explanation to the 65 subsection 4, the date of the commencement of the audit is somehow the certain officer are taking the advantage of that explanation. How? They are saying you have only given the document, but still all the document has not been received. Might be after 3 months, they will again send one notice or they will ask the list of the document. It means the date when all the document has been submitted would be counted as starting of the date. And they are taking the advantage, and that is the reason the audit was going longer on longer. So that is the practical challenge which we have faced in, at least we can say, in Delhi NCR. So might not, we are not aware about the rest part of the India, but yes, this is the practical challenge. Over to you, Sir Krishna Murthy ji ka question.
Our client registered in April 23 is turnover causing 10 crore during the month. So you have to start from the current year only. Okay, in any preceding financial year. Okay, it is in any preceding financial year from 17-18 till the date. So if in the current year also, if you are crossing 10 CR turnover, you have to generate e-invoice
from next financial. Correct. So suppose if you're April 23, let's assume that in any of the financial year who does not have the cross the turnover of 10 crore. Let's in the April 23, one transaction is of 10 crore, cross the turnover of 10 crore. Then your e-invoicing ka liability would arise in 23, not in 23-24. It will be from April 24, because the word is being used preceding financial year. Absolutely correct, sir. Ashwin Thakkar ji ka main le raha hu. As per 47 subsection 2, as per the law, late fees for the filing now be lated for the turnover below 2 crore. Is the view is correct? Take second. As per section 47, as per the law, late fees for the filing GST and be latedly for the turnover bill. Is this view correct? Not sure. Not sure. I have seen certain GSTR 9 has been filed late, but the system is not calculating the late fees. And also we cannot say that whether system is working as per the law or not. Sometimes they are working in a different manner. So I, for the time being, I can say that yes, the late fees would be there, but yes, you can say this point also. Sir, over to you, Krishna sir. Krishna ji Rao ka question.
GSTR 3B table 4A5 net of credit note. Never note now. So what is the query means? You have to show net off. Fine. This is the query or?
Yeah. Correct.
Yes, sir. You have to show net off. Okay. Yeah. You have to show net off.
Correct.
Next question.
IRP timeline say no invoicing beyond 7 days. Sir, till 30th April 2023, can we upload the previous dated invoices? What if the client need on first invoice, but such invoice get paid after quality test? So timeline is okay. So till April 30th, 2023, can we upload the previous dated invoice? Answer would be yes. What if the client need on first invoice? Need on first invoice, but on such invoice get paid? Not clear, sir. Sir, is it clear to you? If
no,
yes,
sir, not clear.
Okay. Sir, Manmohan Singh ji ka question over to you, sir.
A truck purchased in FY 18-19 and a well ITC. Truck sold in FY 2023. All 4 financial years taxable and exempt sales. Okay. Question: every year reverse ITC truck as per rule number 42 or 43, or only first and last year? See, sir, from first year, you are selling exempt as well as taxable. All 4 years. See, here you have written all 4 years, 4 financial years, you are doing taxable and exempt sales. Okay. So in all the 4 years, you should have followed rule number 43. Okay, truck, I am assuming it is a capital goods for you. So rule number 43 would be applicable to you right from the first year till the fourth year. Okay, so you have to reverse the ITC, like the GST amount divided by 60 into exempt turnover upon total turnover.
Correct.
Okay, that is rule number 43 mechanism. TC divided by 60, that is TM into E by F. In this manner, you have to reverse all the financial years. So at present, you can do at one shot. Okay, for all the 4 years, you can do for one shot. The reversal amount would be less because the divided by 60 is done. Okay, so overall cumulatively it will be big, but on month basis, if you would have done, it would have been reduced.
Fine. So Krishnamurthy ji, he has to issue the e-invoice is only from April 2024. Is it correct? Absolutely correct, sir. Correct, because I assume that in none of the preceding financial year turnover crossed 10 crore, and now because 10 crore is exceed in the current financial year, therefore the liability to generate the e-invoice would come from the next financial year, that is April 24 onwards. Sir, Ashwin Thakkar, over to you.
A refund for export received in full after importer raised debit note for some reason of 10% of total export. Is IGST refund required to be deposited along with interest through DRC03? Sir, see here, first of all, we can check that you are exporting in further period or not. If you are exporting in further period, then you can reduce that particular exports by this amount. Okay, if you are not exporting in further period, it would be, see, for example, you are exporting, then you have to recalculate. Okay, directly you do not have to pay the 10% of refund amount. Okay, you have to recalculate that what would be the actual position, that is as per rule number 89.4, net ITC of inputs and input services into that is zero rated turnover of goods or services divided by adjusted total turnover. Okay, so what you do is you reduce the debit note amount from numerator as well as denominator, and what answer you are getting, you check it and compare it with what you have received the refund. The differential amount you can pay through DRC03. Okay, further, if you are going to exports in the further month, you can reduce the debit note turnover from the further export. Okay, that is perfectly all right. Sir, if you want to add anything, you can add.
Correct. But only point that you have to refer that rule 96 capital B. See how much, on export of the goods, at the time of the export, there is no requirement of the amount. Correct. We can realize or not, doesn't matter. It will be treated as export and I can take the refund also. But if you not bring the foreign currency within the time permitted. So I mean to say that if you receive only 90% because of the 10% debiting, so your refund amount would get reduced or you have to pay back 10% in the proportion as discussed by the Keval sir. Yes, you have to pay the DRC0 through DRC03, assuming 96B, you are not getting the 10% amount in the foreign currency within the time limit of FEMA. So that I like to. So I think there is no more question. I request Sai Palji, if you like to elaborate your question once again so that we can take, this would be the last question for the day. Waiting for your again redrafting of the question. साइपाल जी मैं आपके क्वेश्चन का वेट कर रहा हूँ. If you can मतलब put your question once again, it would be better to give our views. We'll wait for a minute, sir. That's
no problems.
और सर अपने बारे में थोड़ा बताएं मेरे मेंबर्स को और यूजर्स को. आप सीए क्लासेस लेते हैं?
हाँ, मैं सीए का क्लासेस भी लेता हूँ and I have written one book on GST. It is GST concept book. I want to show some
please,
photos of that.
Yeah, you have the right. I have made the post.
Okay, sir.
Kindly.
So here place of supply book, I am showing the part.
Okay.
So this book is basically made for students as well as professionals, because professional need section number. Okay, so as per proper section number, it has been drafted. Okay, and analysis is also there. For example, this is section 10.1a. Okay, so 10.1a basic provision is written over there. and in that then in-depth analysis is done.
Okay.
See what would be the location of goods, what is the ex-factory delivery cases, and some diagrammatical presentation.
Wow.
And build to ship to model also there. So in build to ship to model, what practical difficulties all are facing? Okay, so what amount should be posted in e-way bill? Okay, if we are posting the selling price, then the price would be revealed. If we are putting the cost price, then
Right.
cost is. So
Right.
what the practical difficulties and challenges are there? All have been mentioned. So this is basically book. So I teach GST, and along with that, I have my own CA handling, that is department GST audits
Oh,
and all the litigations.
how to purchase that book? Is it available online?
No, sir, it is not available online. You can just put me your name and address. I will dispatch it. Okay, so
Fine.
accordingly,
Fine.
but this is basically for not for extreme professional, because barrack is not there.
Okay.
Okay, analysis is there.
So this is all chapter, correct?
All
GST.
Entire GST, yes.
Great.
Yes, sir.
So surely, could you please interested to what is the price of that particular book?
So that is actually yet to be decided. It is around 1,500 pages book. Okay, so
Oh,
whatever the cost would be there, some normal
no problem.
thing.
No problem.
I will let you know on the group also that this book
Okay.
is launched.
Perfect.
Actually, this book I had already prepared in 2020, but I realized that students are not going to read this 1,500 page book, because for them it is just CA final clearing or CMA final
Correct.
clearing.
Correct.
Okay, so then I changed the bit of this perception to write this book. I reduced the content. Okay, analysis is there, but I have shortened it, the content, so that they can also refer and professionals also can refer.
Okay.
Okay, so accordingly it has been.
Fine.
And some GST charts are also there. Okay, I
Okay.
would like to show some glimpse of it.
Please.
So here all the charts are there, so that in 2-3 pages each chapter can be covered. Okay, so this is again place of supply. So these are the sections. Sometimes quick reference we want. Okay, for example,
Right.
client is asking that what is the place of supply. So we cannot at the instant moment can go to book and search. Okay, so here it will be handy book. Okay, so this is just of 135 pages. Entire GST is covered along with analysis. Okay, along with analysis it is there.
Wow.
Now, for example, we say what is the meaning of directly in relation to immovable property. Okay, section 12.3. So 12.3 analysis is over here. That what is the meaning of directly? Directly words meaning is very important.
Correct.
So that directly words analysis is over here. Okay, and then what is the location of supplier? So location of supplier means registered place of business, and other than this, so everything is covered along with analysis. It is covered.
Very nice.
This is the
तो ठीक है, जब भी आप हमें मतलब किताब जब कंप्लीट हो जाएगी और मार्केट में अवेलेबल हो जाएगी,
ये वाली तो अवेलेबल ही है सर, ये चार्ट बुक इज अवेलेबल.
ऐसे चार्ट बुक सेपरेट किताब है, इज इट?
हाँ, चार्ट बुक इज सेपरेट and main book is also separate. Chart book is available at just 750 cost is there.
Okay, fine. And online is also available?
Yeah, online is also available. I will share the link with you.
Please, please.
Yeah.
If you can show on the screen now, so that would be available longer period also, because this video would be available on YouTube. So
Okay.
the people that
you can search here. You can search here, for example, kevalmota.com.
Okay.
The first website will be coming. Okay, here you can shop. So IDT chart book you can shop from here.
Wow.
This I will amend the link. Okay, here.
Perfect. So I request everyone, if anybody is interested, मैं ये request करूँगा इस website पर visit करके, accordingly you can purchase this book, and I would ensure that सर का जैसा knowledge था और जैसे query handle करने का तरीका था, उससे हमें एक idea तो लग ही गया होगा सभी लोगों को कि this book is going to be helpful for the professional as well as the student. So so fine, sir, we can take the last question. There is one last question.
One last question. Yeah.
And if the client asks for the invoice on the first of every month only, but the invoice gets accepted only if the textile pass quality test. So मेरा ये मानना है, see साईपाल जी, if I go to the section 31 subsection, when it talk about the invoice can be issued on or before, because the word before का मतलब क्या है, मैं invoice advance में issue कर सकता हूँ. Let's say I will issue the invoice on first, and at a later stage, let's say because of the quality, the invoice got rejected. Then there is a provision of section 34 subsection 1. I can issue the credit note. No? So if it is accepted, well and good. If it is rejected, then issue the credit note. And if it is invoicing, then both the document, in first invoice, then credit note or debit note, would go through IRN process. Sir, anything you like to add?
No, sir, perfectly.
So fine. So thank you very much to each and every member and every participant who were there in the live discussion, and special thanks to Keval Mota sir for.
Thank you, sir, for giving this
invitation.
opportunity.
Sure,
thank you, sir.
So we can conclude our. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.